I got this box in the mail a while back, and I would love to see the look on customs officials' faces when they opened it. What's in this box is the materials for a project that I don't have any plans or ideas for yet. This is the Silva Challenge. Jim Silva is a friend and a diecast customizer. He sends out these boxes along with a challenge. I'll give you a short version of the premise. Blah 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 blah. I sent out a box of trash, have fun with it. Okay, there's a ton of stuff here. Some good and, well, this horrible couple right here. Sorry, Jim, not this time. And after a preliminary sort through the bits, there's some usable stuff here. A lot of multiples of things too. That'll be good for symmetry. See anything you like from the bunch? Huh? I'm getting some ideas, but there's actually a lot of other bits to choose from hiding inside these Hot Wheel cars. Let's open them all up. That's better. Now we can get a look at all our resources. I really liked the curves of these fenders, and I thought they would make good leg or arm body panels for a robot. So I cut the diecast metal apart with my jeweler's saw. These longer fenders came out really cool, but the back ones ended up getting used somewhere else. I also thought the detailed parts of this truck interior would be useful along with the tanks and the exhaust pipes, so I went about dissecting it with a fine Tamiya plastic saw. I kept grabbing other cars and held them up to each other, looking for shapes that make sense together. This purple car will make a good body, but it's too long. The fenders from this blue interior will make good shoulders. And this gold part will fill in the back after some modification. At some point in this build I got really bogged down with the infinite choices and just had to start gluing things together. I still didn't have a definite direction for the project. Super gluing baking soda is really useful for gluing and gap filling. It also sands really well. These beads didn't come from the box Jim sent, but I needed a good round joint, and I grabbed some from my bits box. I have no idea what these tubes are, but they'll be great on the inside of the shins. Some more cheat beads for the knees. I used those fenders that I cut out before and some UV resin to make one symmetrical piece. This will be the front of the hip section. I grabbed some of the paper from the envelope in the box to fill some gaps on the sides. I cut the interior piece down as the abdomen and made a neck out of a car body clip from the box. There are a few more gaps to deal with under the shoulders. Here's another thing that came from my own stash of bits: Gundam hands. They're the perfect size for the forearms that I chose. And this handrail finds an application as exposed arm machinery. and the plot thickens. I found these new guns at the 100 yen store that are 1/12 size, and look at this fit. I was actually shocked at how perfect this is. And once I found out that, I went through my other 1/12 dollar store stuff and found a guardrail. Then the concept for the diorama all came together. Now that I had a direction, I was able to push forward with more speed. I grabbed these parts from the box and chopped, drilled, sanded, and so on until the arms materialized. Die-cast wheels are really hard to use, so I was glad to get some into this project. And there were wires too. I made a head out of the other end of the casting I used for the body, some interior details from other cars, a grill, and spikes from a drywall anchor. I picked a spot for the point of impact and I broke out the heat gun. Onto the base. I wanted to try out an idea that I had ages ago that involves a flexible base layer and plaster of Paris. EVA foam in this case will make the flexible layer. I cut out a piece for the road section. And after masking off the edges with tape, I mixed up some plaster and black paint to make the concrete. I accidentally made this a little too thin, so it took ages to dry. After leveling it and shaking out the bubbles, I left it for a good long while to dry. And while it's drying, I added some bullet holes to the guardrail and the robot itself. A soldering iron and good ventilation is key here. This will all be weathered up later. And back to the plaster now that it is mostly dried. The flexible base allows you to break up the plaster into natural shapes. And with some pieces gone from the edges, I could slide them all out of the way like this, which creates really nice cracking patterns. I also took some cork coasters and ripped them into chunky shapes. Using PVA and sand, I covered the rest of the smooth XPS foam. I leveled out most of the curb before giving everything some base coats of paint. The texture is really doing the heavy lifting here, nothing complicated. The best starting point for every robot or bit of mechanics is a metallic dry brush over black. The dry ground got a flocking of dirt, and then I weathered the guardrail to match a bridge by my house. You can see the reference images I took here. After the rust, I washed and used pigments to dirty it up. Easily my favorite part of this build. I love the silver finish so much that I decided to keep it for the final piece. I just needed to glue the parts together and add some weird leaking fluid to the parts in the base. The scene needed a little bit more balance, so I added a white line on the road and painted a couple chunks that flew out of the line. Once that was through, I painted the edge black and it was all done. What do you think the story behind this guy is? What happened to him here? I want to say thank you to my amazing people on Patreon, Sensei level supporter Adam, Scratch Builders Andrew Price, Spaghetti a la Mode, Harker, JC Hayes, Gamey Builds, Sabi Hobby, Stacy, and all my dollar store enablers. I appreciate all of you so much. Go create something, and I'll see you on the next build.